What you are about to hear was never supposed to leak, but it did. And once you know it, you cannot unknow it. Hello, friends. My name is James, and you are watching Royal Daily Report, your number one source for the most exclusive, most shocking, and most talked about royal stories on the internet. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now because you do not want to miss what we have coming. And if you have been here from the beginning, you already know. We never stop. We never hold back. And tonight is no different. Let us get into it. William will not take his calls. Meghan is walking into a trap. Journalists were misled through WhatsApp. Harry is furious. Harry is distraught. Harry is devastated. Those are not dramatic words invented for a headline. Those are the exact words that sourced, named journalists and royal correspondents have used in pieces published in the past 72 hours across IB Times UK, ABC News, Fox News Digital, and Reality T. And tonight, we are going to tell you exactly what happened. How a confirmed family reunion became a communications disaster in less than a week. How the WhatsApp strategy that Harry and Meghan's team used to brief journalists blew up in their faces. Why William is refusing to take Harry's calls just days before Harry lands in the UK. And the most alarming claim of all, that Meghan genuinely believes she is walking into a trap. Not a metaphorical trap. A specific, deliberate, institutional trap that she fears has been set for her by the palace she left 4 years ago. This is Royal Daily Report. And tonight, this story is more complicated, more human, and more genuinely frightening than anything we have covered this week. Let us start with the WhatsApp disaster, because this is the story that broke yesterday and that IB Times UK has confirmed in detail. In the days following the announcement that Harry and Meghan would travel to the UK from July 7th to July 11th, the Sussex communications team reportedly began briefing journalists through private WhatsApp messages. This is a common PR strategy. You reach out to trusted reporters through private channels. You give them information. They write the story. You get the headlines you want. The problem is that this time, the information the Sussex team was briefing turned out to be wrong, or at minimum, premature. The situation, particularly around security and confirmation of the full family trip, was reportedly still in flux when journalists were briefed. And when the facts on the ground changed, the journalists who had already written and published stories based on those briefings were left with inaccurate reporting. Multiple journalists were reportedly forced to retract or significantly amend their UK visit stories. IB Times UK confirmed the WhatsApp briefing row as the latest twist in the ongoing tensions over the Sussex's PR approach. And the impact was immediate and damaging, not just to the trip's public image, but to the trust between the Sussex communications operation and the journalists they depend on to tell their story. Because in media, being the source of inaccurate information is a very specific kind of reputation damage. Journalists who feel they have been misled do not stay quiet about it. And right now, they are not staying quiet. If you want to understand exactly how the WhatsApp briefing connected to the security crisis and William's silence, subscribe to Royal Daily Report right now. Because what comes next is where this story becomes a genuine thriller. Now let us talk about William. Because IB Times UK published something yesterday that is one of the most significant royal news items of the past week. The headline was this: William won't take his calls. Prince Harry is allegedly being ghosted by his brother ahead of what was supposed to be a historic UK family return. Think about what that means. Harry is preparing to travel to the country he grew up in. His father has offered him a royal residence to stay in. His grandfather's role in the Invictus Games countdown is bringing him to Birmingham. And his brother, the man he grew up with, the man he walked behind at their mother's funeral, the man he wrote an entire chapter of his memoir about, will not pick up the phone. IB Times UK confirmed this in their own reporting. Prince Harry allegedly furious over bizarre 11th-hour security ruling that stops him from visiting Diana's grave. That headline, published by IB Times UK, contains a detail that has not been widely enough reported. Not just the security ruling, The specific thing the security ruling is stopping Harry from doing: visiting Diana's grave. Althorpe House, where Diana is buried on that small island in the ornamental lake, is approximately 1 hour from Birmingham. It was the place Harry most wanted to take Archie and Lillibut during this trip, the place where his mother rests. And the security denial has made even that visit, the most personal, the most private, the most heartbreaking element of this entire trip, potentially impossible. Harry cannot take his children to their grandmother's grave because the government will not guarantee their safety. William will not take his calls. The WhatsApp briefings blew up in public. And on top of all of it, the security remains unresolved. Like this video right now if this story is landing on you harder than almost anything else we have covered this week. And subscribe to Royal Daily Report, because what comes next is about Meghan and the fear that is reportedly consuming her right now. Now let us talk about Meghan. Because of everything IB Times UK has published about this visit, the most alarming detail is not about Harry or William or Charles or the security committee. It is about Meghan herself. IB Times UK published a piece this week with a headline that contains a sentence that stops you completely. Meghan Markle does not trust the palace. She fears she is walking into a trap. An insider told the publication directly that Meghan genuinely believes the palace has set a trap for her. Not a metaphorical trap in the sense of a difficult media environment. A specific, operational trap. The exact nature of what she fears has not been fully detailed in the reporting, but the pattern behind it is visible from everything that has happened over the past week. Security declined at the last moment. A royal accommodation offered that would place the Sussex family inside palace-controlled space. Communications that were briefed to journalists and then had to be retracted. An institution that has, by Meghan's own account across multiple interviews, consistently found ways to make her life more difficult when she believed things were moving in a positive direction. If you were a woman who had experienced the past 4 years that Meghan has experienced, and you were now preparing to step back onto British soil for the first time, and the security you were promised was denied at the last moment, and the accommodation being offered puts you inside the institutional framework of the very palace you left, it is not difficult to understand why the word trap would appear in your thinking. Reality T, reporting on July 2nd, confirms something else that connects directly to this fear. They said sources described Meghan's concern as relating specifically to the institutional dynamics she will face when she arrives. The worry, according to insiders, is that the visit will be used to generate a public narrative that benefits the palace rather than the Sussexes. That any warmth shown by Charles toward Archie and Lillibut will be presented publicly as the institution's generosity rather than a grandfather's love. That the optics of a Sussex family welcomed into a royal residence will be managed in a way that makes the palace look magnanimous and makes Harry and Meghan look like they needed rescuing. That is the trap Meghan reportedly fears. Not a physical threat, an institutional one. Do not go anywhere. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report and turn on those notifications. Because what comes next is about the most consequential detail of all: Catherine, and what she is doing right now. Let us talk about Catherine. Because Reality T confirmed on July 2nd that Kate Middleton is reportedly playing peacemaker between Prince William and Prince Harry again. The Duke of Sussex is expected to travel to the UK, and Kate is apparently trying to manage something that is becoming increasingly difficult to manage. Because the split between how William sees this visit and how Charles sees it is not narrowing. It is widening. Fox News Digital confirmed William and King Charles appear to be approaching the situation from entirely different perspectives. Ian Pelham-Turner told Fox News, "Charles is a very kind, family-oriented man who wants to see his grandchildren and presumably play a role in their lives. He also wants to create a culture where Meghan feels comfortable to return. But we are told William is furious about all of this." The specific phrase that IB Times UK used to describe William's door being bolted shut is doing real work in the public conversation about this visit. Because a bolted door is not just a closed door. It is a door that has been actively, deliberately secured, not left closed out of inaction, shut and locked from the inside. And Catherine, reportedly trying to be peacemaker, is standing on one side of that bolted door, trying to find a way to make July not become another permanent chapter in the breakdown of this family. Newsweek's chief royal correspondent Jack Royston described the broader situation with precision. He wrote that every significant royal is now having to play a role in this visit. Harry the wronged prince. Charles the ailing grandfather who wants to meet his grandchildren. William the dutiful future monarch who wants to protect his country and wants accountability. And Catherine, somewhere in the middle, trying to hold all of those competing roles from destroying each other. Now let us talk about the detail that Fox News Digital's Richard Fitzwilliams contributed that changes how you see Meghan's motivation for this entire trip. He told Fox News they have not succeeded in Hollywood, but they intend to turn the huge interest of the world's media in their visit to their advantage. And then he added the sentence that is most significant. He said the link with Diana may be pivotal to their strategy in challenging the abysmally low popularity ratings in the UK. Diana. The connection to Diana. Fitzwilliams is suggesting, carefully but clearly, that the Sussex team understands that whatever goodwill still exists for them in Britain runs primarily through Harry's identity as Diana's son. That the Diana effect, the public love for her memory, the way it is carried forward through Harry and through the names of his children, is the most powerful asset they have in a country where Meghan's approval rating sits at 19%. And that staying at Althorpe, or being photographed near Althorpe, or simply being associated with Diana's grave and Diana's home in any way, is a strategic choice as much as it is an emotional one. IB Times UK went even further. They accused the Sussex team of using the children specifically to reopen the UK security dispute. Their headline said directly, "There is a lot of manipulation going on." Prince Harry and Meghan accused of using children to reopen UK security dispute. That is a brutal accusation, from a credible outlet, against parents who say they only want their children to be safe. And it reflects exactly the divided, suspicious, deeply fractured atmosphere that this family is walking into in July. Here is what this story ultimately tells us as of July 3rd, 2026. Harry is going to Britain. That part appears confirmed. Whether Meghan and the children come with him remains genuinely uncertain. The security remains unresolved. The WhatsApp briefings blew up. William will not take his calls. Meghan fears she is walking into a trap. And Catherine is trying to keep the whole thing from collapsing. This is not the story of a family finding its way back together in a warm July reunion. This is the story of a family trying, simultaneously, to repair something that may not be reparable, to protect institutional interests that conflict with each other, to manage a media environment that has been actively misled, and to do all of it with two small children in the middle who have no idea what any of it means. Archie is 7. Lilibet is 5. They have been told, apparently, that they are going somewhere new in July, that their grandfather will be there, that they will see England for the first time they will be old enough to remember. And whether any of that actually happens now, whether the security gets resolved, whether Meghan decides the trap is worth walking into, whether William picks up the phone, whether Charles gets to hold his grandchildren before another year passes, will be decided in the next 4 days. This is Royal Daily Report, and we are not going anywhere until we know how this ends. That is all for tonight, friends. I am James, and this has been Royal Daily Report. If this story hit different for you, hit that like button right now. Subscribe if you have not already, and turn on those notifications because we drop new stories every single week. Share this video with one friend who loves royal news. I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay informed, stay curious, and stay royal. Goodbye, friends. Hello, friends. If you are not subscribed to Royal Daily Report yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button right now.